So as I've said many times, it's fine if you don't feel like sitting. Marina, are you gonna do the Shavasana? Okay. Yeah, the reason why that's good, Marina, is that the blanket's in the pit of the knee providing the cushion. So I suspect that's good. Just see that the knees are slightly forward of the hips. So sit in a comfortable position, either Virasana, Hero's pose, although actually I take that back, don't sit in Virasana because we're going to do Virasana in a moment. So Swastikasana, see that look down at the shins. We haven't looked at this in a while. The shins should be crossed, not so much the ankles. It's if you look down at your legs, it's the shins are like this. And then if you need height, sit on some height, although I will say, and I alluded to this last week, that it's interesting if you let's all do this. Just extend your trunk forward. I'm on a bolster and a bolster's in front of me because that releases your inner thighs to the floor. Keep the neck long and then take the hands, walk them back to the roots of the thighs, pronate the palms so you feel the descension of not only the roots of the thighs, but the inner groins cut down to the floor. And as the thighs and inner groins descend, there's a corresponding lift of the side walls of the chest. Feel the elation, if you will, of the side walls of the chest, the width across the armpit chest, where my hands are, the skin spreading, the pectoral muscles stretching. And then if you're closing your eyes, which you don't have to, but if you do, see that your chest doesn't descend. Typically it does. And then sense that you're looking downward into the seat of your heart. See if you can now just simply connect to your heart. The mind divides, heart unites. The mind often keeps us on a very superficial level. It makes us argue with ourselves and others. So set aside the thoughts of the mind. And this certainly is not to negate the value of thinking. Of course, we need to think for many of our daily activities. But see, as we're sitting this morning, see if something else emerges. Trusting the space actually between the thoughts. Again, setting aside mind-created events. Leading from the heart, trusting the space, trusting the silence. See if you can resonate from that place. And then you can repeat the vow, may I be a boat, a raft, a bridge for all beings to cross the flood. May I be a resting place for the weary. May I be medicine for all who are sick. May I be a lamp in the darkness for those who are lost. And may I do so as long as earth and sky and galaxies exist, until all beings are enlightened. I vow to be here to serve them all. Every time I recite that, especially the last two verses, I'm so aware of what a lofty vow that is, but that's the purpose of it. Knowing that one might fall short throughout the day and then simply begin again. And then when you're ready, your eyes will close, let the eyes open, lift the gaze, and stretch out your legs. Hi, Lubna. Hi, Yukiko. Welcome, everyone. I don't know, for some reason, I feel like the time, like from even Tuesday to now, has been like 2 years. I'm not so sure why that is, but somehow it feels that way. Okay, so we're going to do similarly to what we did on Tuesday. Of course, so here's the thing. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. All right, we take 2 bolsters or make a bolster. If you don't have 2 bolsters, make a bolster with a blanket. So I have 2 bolsters. All right. Then I'm going to just go through the whole thing because it's slightly different than what I presented on Tuesday. Watch. We're going to sit. That's why I didn't ask you to sit in the Virasana. We're going to sit spread the feet. Those are in my class on Sunday when I did the workshop. We talked about spreading the toes, opening up the plantar fascia. And then we'll go into a quick Parvatasana, which is Urdhva Baddha Gulyasana arms and Virasana legs. Then you're going to recline back. And Marina, this is so generally, there's two things. The more height you take, the less likely that the knees will go up, but then there's less flexion in the knees. Now, Marina, look, you see, I could put a block here, but I don't have to keep my buttocks on the floor. That's not necessary. So this is, if this is fine, fine. And then watch, this is the key. We did this on, then we'll come up and then we'll place one leg. I'll show you with my left, you can do the right. We go back and do a right Marichyasana, one leg, my other leg, my right leg is in Virasana. Then we come back up and we change sides. And actually, let's do what we did. I want to take you further than on Tuesday. Then we'll bring the knee into the chest, which is challenging. So it's a big opening for the groin. Hi, Julia. Marina, feel free to get, these classes have been small. I love that they're small, so I can tend to everyone in the room. If you feel you need to come on and unmute yourself, then do so. So we're starting in Virasana. See that there's space between the thighs. They should not touch because that contracts the diaphragm. All right, then stretch the arms up into Urdhva Baddha Gulyasana. Look up at your thumb and index finger side, which wants to drop. Don't let it. Keep the palms facing, yes, yeah. Try not to lean back. Shoulder blades are flat on the back. So Parvatasana, Beth, you can take the arms, Beth, here out to the side. No reason not to do that, or palms up, just so you get a smidge of the shoulder work. Beth, you could just nod your head. Were you there on Sunday? Because yeah, it's a shame. I don't know why they didn't give me full access to the screens. I thought of you, but I didn't have access because it was stuck on one screen. I don't understand that. Okay, now recline back. Put the hands in the arches of the feet. Spread the toes. Remember, you need more height for the trunk if the knees lift up. That's it, Marina. If your chin is lifting, Marina, take a little bit of head support at the spine of the shoulder. So your chin doesn't lift. It's just unhealthy for the neck. Now find out, good. Find out in taking your trunk down, did you let the thighs splay out? Then that would mean that you would need a belt. Belt is not required, but sometimes our thighs splay out. Julia, you need less height, yeah? Okay. The reason I had everyone start with 2 bolsters is because when we take the leg in Marichyasana 1 and then knee into chest, it gets tricky. We're going to a pose, if you don't know it, it's called Ekapada Supta Virasana, which is hard. When you're ready, stretch the arms overhead and elongate the side walls of the chest. Keep pressing, good gap, the feet down. Keep pressing the feet down. Yeah, arms are overhead unless you have a shoulder issue. Beth, just go to Baddha Hasta. Hold your upper arms then. If that should be better, yeah. Okay. And then everyone go to Baddha Hasta, but then you'll restretch the arms. Marina, you won't have room there for you. So one of the things that's interesting, it seems like small potato point, but when you hold the arms in one class, Baddha Hasta, and then just change that, it's better actually to go through Urdhva Hastasana extension and then go back to flexion. It's a mood, it's not a mood point, it's something, okay? Some of you have a third bolster, or a block nearby, Mary Beth, you can put it on the roots of the thighs so that you're really grounding the thighs. Okay, just stay for another moment in the change of the class, enjoy the breath. This pose is inhalation forward, meaning the pose, every geometry of a pose exaggerates, not exacerbates. What's the better word than exaggerate? Anyway, it brings forth an aspect of the breath. So Supta Virasana brings forth, it makes it you can become very, very aware naturally of your inhalation. All right, just enjoy the breath. Feel the expansion in the armpit chest. All right, now to come up, You'll place the hands in the arches of the feet, press the feet, lead with your chest, up you come. And then I should just show, then you're placing your right leg where the right heel, Marina, you'll have to probably, anyone with knee issues, so Marina with the right, you'll walk the heel further away from the buttock and then you recline back. Okay, so your right leg is in Marichiasana 1. It's just good to know that leg. Marina, good. The other leg is in Virasana. So if one leg is in Virasana, the left, the right leg is in Marichiasana. Yeah, the heel, those who don't have any knee issues, can bring the right heel right in close. We did Marichi, that's it, Luna. That's it. Okay, now here's the tricky part. Yukiko, get settled. All right, now, that's it, Gail. Now simply draw the right knee, the Marichiasana leg, toward your chest. You can hold the shin. Yes, so this is the second stage of Ekapada Supta Virasana. Flex through the foot. Yes, so you're highlighting the arch. Yes, the right shin ideally parallel to the ceiling, if you can. If you can't reach for it, if your groins, if your hip flexors, if the psoas is tight, loop it. Put a belt across the shin. Good, Val. All right, these look good. These look good. All right, now press the foot down. You could take it back to Virasana, hold the sides of the mat, inhale, up you come, and then you got to change sides. For some of you, it might be easier to put the right leg back to Virasana when you're reclining. Okay, now your left leg is Marichiasana. That's good, Marina. That's it. Be careful. Walk the, so the right leg is doing well, Marina. Very nice. Okay. So so that you know, this is a pose called Ekapada Supta Virasana. We already did Supta Virasana, where one leg will be eventually in Supta Padangusthasana 1, and the other leg is in Virasana and the back is flat. So we're moving toward that pose to some degree today. It's an incredible pose to open up the groins. Stay there, and then when you're ready, hold the shin, or take a belt and draw that Marichiasana. These look good. Gail, see it? Draw, the shin parallel to the ceiling, if it's possible. It may not be possible. Imagine that foot, yes, on the wall. Yeah, hold the back of the thigh. That's it, Gail. So you can really feel when you're taking that leg into the chest, how much that stretches now for the right groin, right? The right iliopsoas muscle. Now, go back, you do this, bring back that left leg into Virasana. Julia, do you have a question?
Yeah, I can't balance. I'm like falling off the I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm falling off the bolsters.
I'm not sure. Are you pressing your feet? You're pressing your shin? The bolster's wide enough to support. Let me show Julia.
Okay.
Everyone give a good stretch to their legs. So let's just see, here's one bolster. I'll just show you in a different iteration because it's just good to see. Say you're in a hotel room, you don't have access to 2 bolsters. All right, so here, it might be that you had too much height, Julia. Might be, I'm not saying, okay, now watch, some of you, I'll also add, this is head support, and it goes, I know I have a white shirt, white blanket, but it should be at the spine of the shoulder. So let's just say I have a bolster and a half head support. Okay, so I have a feeling, Julia, you had too much height, but I could be wrong. Put the block there for stability, Julia, and then I go back. Be in the middle, Julia, not off to one side, and then you do the same thing. You see? Julia, is that clear?
Yeah, I think with the block there, that'll give me the stability.
Yeah, the block will help, and the block, I had it on the low side, could be on the medium side, you know. Yeah, you're very welcome. Stretch out your legs, Dandasana. Stretch out your legs, Dandasana. Okay, now you can remove the props. And we're taking Adho Mukha Svanasana with the heels at the wall. Okay, so watch, you all know this. There is a tendency when you use the heels at the wall to shorten the stance, which means that the only way if you're too short, you have to walk the hands out. And I just want to point out something. You know, in order for you to know the distance between, the feet and the hands, you have to sense that a plumb line is being dropped from the hips, right? And from the hip to the head should be not to the hands, from the hip crease to the head should be the same distance as the hip crease to the feet. Most people in dog pose are too short from the hip to the heel, all right, or to the feet. Okay, let's see. Elaine, we're gonna do the calf stretch, so do Uttanasana. Beth, or the chair. Beth, just hold the seat of the chair for your Adho Mukha Svanasana. All right. Marina, that's good. I don't see that right knee jutting that far forward. It's interesting from the profile, Marina, I don't even see your right leg, which is not what I would have expected. All right, Amy, that's it. So just hang a plumb line from your hip crease and just say it's 2 feet. Then from the hip crease to the head is 2 feet. Most of the time I see 2 feet from hip to head and a foot from head to feet. Lubna, that's good. And pump your thoracic. These look very good indeed. Val, I know for you the hyperextension is something else, and I'm always inclined to say, as you know, push your calf flesh to your shin, but I don't know if that is really a helpful instruction for you. But do the needful, i.e. for Val, pumping the thoracic for Lubna, etc. Elaine, you can do Utkatasana, or even modified warrior 3, Prasarita Padottanasana with legs at the wall. None of those. We'll do modified warrior 3, but you can do any and all. Do Utkatasana, such a utilitarian pose. Okay, now walk your feet toward your hands. Get a blanket, get 2 blocks. So this is similar to what you did. I know many of you enjoyed the Tuesday lesson, so watch. I'm forward of the wall, this you know. And then I bend forward, then I step back so the legs are glued to the wall. If there's a baseboard, it's going to be weird because the baseboard gets in the way. We're doing this concave Uttanasana, and then I'll show it in 2 steps. Then you'll be at a dive with a roll, and I like to take the Sarvangasana shape. You did this. This is the very way Patricia back in the day used to teach it. I'm on a diagonal, and this basically blanket allows me to merge my chest with my legs. Then I have courage to shift the weight and go down, okay? All right, so you'll need 2 blocks and a blanket, and let's do both stages. Remember, when you're in Uttanasana, so now the legs are against the wall, Julia. Yeah, take the first stage without the roll. We got to spend a little bit of time. Yukiko, would be forward of the wall, bend forward, then step back. The interesting thing, Marina, as you know, is like anytime you can use the wall surface, either on this or lying down, it helps. Although I do see the legs bending, it's fine. Okay, look forward from the bridge of the nose. Otherwise, you get that bend at the occiput, and that is not good. Amy, good? All right. Pull up on the kneecaps, activate the thighs, lift the arches, spread the feet, elongate the sides of the trunk. The blocks can be on the, don't go too high because otherwise the shoulder blades will lift up. So most of you just need the medium side. Beth, I think go lower. Yeah, most of you don't need the high side. That's it. Okay, now walk forward. Inhale, come up, and now put the buttocks diagonally. So your feet are forward of it, the buttocks are diagonally. Pick up your rolled blanket. Don't make it too thick. Because if it's too thick, it's kind of like a Goldilocks pose. Good, Val. Just get it such that, that's it. So it joins, it's the filler. Think of it as a filler because as you know, in Uttanasana full pose, oftentimes when the hamstrings are tight, when the back muscles, paraspinal muscles are tight, the trunk doesn't rest on the thighs. So make your roll, then you can use your hand, push. If you're getting dizzy, Elaine, be mindful of that because this is the head is down. Push the buttocks away, that's it, away from the wall and go down. and feel that beautiful connection, that merging like we do, Amy, and then when you're ready, you can shift the weight. So remember, in the first position, the heels were forward of the buttocks. Then you shifted the weight, beautiful, Marina. If the legs are slightly bent, so be it. It's fine. All right. Good. Now, place the hands on the hips, inhale, up you come. So I know I have my sneakers on, but just imagine I don't. Okay, so I'm gonna hold my big toes, thumb and index finger, middle finger, gonna hold the big toes and pull up, but I'm doing it with bend to straight, so watch. Urdhva Hastasana, exhale, I'm holding my big toes, I'm bending the legs, and I have the memory of that blanket. But should I, at the time when I straighten my legs and go down, lose the connection, we didn't do this on Tuesday, then I'll get the blanket and feel the connection, right? So not only are we straightening the legs, not only are we releasing the spinal muscles, but we want the abdomen. Look, you know, in Dvipada Pavanuttasana, which we work on a lot, I want to see there's a connection between the trunk and the thighs. All right, so let's try Padangusthasana. You can do it freestanding. In profile, that's the very best way I can see. Raise the arms up without letting the thighs come forward. Now hold the big toes and start with bent legs. That's our theme, bend to straight. Now, when you're in bent leg, obviously, it's easy to merge the chest with the thighs. So we're using that as a platform, good Marina, to straighten the legs. Then begin to straighten the legs any amount as you widen the elbows out to the sides and release the side walls of the chest down. And then ask yourself, roll the buttocks forward, they want to stay back, don't let them. Ask yourself, how is it that someone is able to get their abdomen on the root of the thighs? It's not just hamstring, it's paraspinal back muscles. Work with the breath. The abdomen has to draw back toward the front of the spine, and then repeat. Say you have that gap, do it again, and then if you don't get it on the second, third time, Julia, then add that blanket in. So the blanket is there for the taking. Beth, that's really good, although these are easy for you. And just imagine, Beth, you're in Paschimottanasana now. Joe, bend to straight movement, yeah, with the roll. So there's no gap between your chest and your thighs. And if anyone's dizzy, do Paschimottanasana. And then you won't have the experience of the dizziness. You'll be, Elaine, if you feel dizzy or nauseous, here, in this manner, bend to see the similarities between Paschimottanasana, good Marina, and Uttanasana. Okay. Now, Mary Beth did this, I believe, on Tuesday. I think I'll spotlight Mary Beth. I'd like you to do the calf stretch today with the chair. Mary Beth, do you have a strap? So let's just go through this. And ideally, what I would say is in the middle of in the inside of the chair, Mary Beth, and I haven't shown this in some time, is ideally a mat piece, something like this. If you have an old mat, you can cut it. Okay, so I'm going to spotlight Mary Beth just to see if I have a spotlight. Where are you, Mary Beth? Okay, so let's just go over this because this is a very good way. So she's showing in profile. Do you have that mat piece, Mary Beth? Yeah, so put the mat piece in. And I will say, if anyone has foot issues, this is a hard one to do with bare feet. So, be open to wearing a sneaker and then mindfully step in. Remember the chair, you have to press the feet down because otherwise that chair can just flip over. And I remember someone falling over. Okay, then she puts the strap around that bar rung, and that helps Mary Beth come to upright. The chest wants to come forward, so she has to resist that. Lift strongly from the sides of your pubic bone. You'll stay about a minute there, then bend forward and do Uttanasana again. So it's Uttanasana with big calf stretch. Now her hands are on the floor. Yeah, on the floor, and go down, and go down. Walk the hands a little bit back to the heels, Mary Beth, so you can really get closer into that. I know it's challenging into that because, Because yeah, it's challenging because the calves are on such that angle, yeah. Nor do you want to get the rungs in your chest. Okay, thanks, Mary Beth. All right, so let's do this. Take time, everyone. All right, so really mindfully come into this chair. If you don't have a chair, not a problem. Do the calf stretches I'm doing at the wall. This. Mary Beth, are you off spotlight? I thought I. Okay, I just don't see it in gallery view.
Yes, I'm off spotlight.
Okay, that's what I thought. Then you're on my screen then. Okay, let's see everyone. Because I think when we did this on Tuesday, unless I'm wrong, and Mary Beth might have been the only one. That's really good, Marina, doing it freestanding with the blocks. Blocks can be done at the wall. Okay, stay about a minute. Beth, really pull up. So because you see, it's like you're ski jumping like that, right? You have to really pull up on the sides of the pubic bone. So the chest should be upright. Otherwise, you're going to bypass sometimes it's an indication of restriction in the groins. Let's see, Amy.
Question, are the heels, excuse me, are the heels on the floor or on the?
No, the heels are in the chair seat.
Okay.
They're in that bottom rung.
Okay, thanks.
And that's a whole other issue. That's why if this is challenging, I will say that wearing a sneaker is really helpful. That's good, Lumna, because you don't have the chair there. I will say if you flip the Lumna, put the blocks against the wall. I think that might, I know you can't go forward that way, but do it, that way first and then come forward. Let's see, Gail. That's really, now, Amy, you really, now you're that Norwegian ski jumper. You have to bring the chest much further back, take the buttocks down. You need more tailbone action, Amy, and more lift in the sides of the pubic bone. Okay, others of you can come forward. Lumna, you can turn the block around and come forward. Your Pico, well done. Even more, Beth. So what I'm seeing is this kind of action look. You have to, it's a double action. It has to happen simultaneously. Lift the sides of the pubic bone, buttock flush to the backs of the knees, and lift the side walls of the chest up if that's possible. Now, it might be because of calf restriction. Beth, be mindful. It looks to me like you're hyperextending your knees as well, right? Yeah, so don't move. So sense that the calves don't move back at a faster rate, right? So calf to shin for both you and Val. That's your mantra. Okay, I'm glad we did this. Now, mindfully, because I've seen people that chair flips over, hold the what do you call it? The back, whatever, the legs, right, and come out. You have to know the chair anatomy, a backrest, the joint, the legs, the seat. Okay, now take a belt. And we're going to do a calf, what I call a calf-centric Supta Padangusthasana 1. So before we do that asymmetrical pose, start with a bent leg position to get traction in your lower spine, extend one leg, and then the other. Then, just like we did over the bolster, you'll do Ekapada Padangusthasana, which is also called a Kunchanasana. So if someone brought it to my point, I think it was Rahel, that she wasn't, people are not aware that this pose, Ekapada Padangusthasana, wind relieving pose, or one knee into the chest, is also called a Kunchanasana. A Kunchanasana means that it's an abdominal action. And then you're going to put the belt, just like we did, around the back heel, as though, let me show from this because Amy's new and I don't know if she's done this before. See, Amy, I'm putting the belt right at the back of the heel. It's a little bit easier for me because I have that rubber heel. And then I'm going to pull the toes down, and pull the toes down toward me, lift the heel up, and this gives me that, it reproduces that intense calf stretch that you just did on the chair. So I'll call this a heel-centric Supta Padangusthasana 1. All right, everyone can do. Start with the Kunchanasana. Don't bypass that. Marina, that's it. Start with the heel. It's so the belt is right at the back heel, where it's almost like hanging off the cliff of the heel. All right, then start at 90. And now toes down, heel up. So the foot isn't parallel to the ceiling. Pull the toes down. So you're doing the same exact thing you did with the on the chair. Good, Julia. You should feel it not just in your hamstring, not just in your calf, your abdomen as well. It's all these parts. Supta Pada Gustasana 1 is not, it's really an abdominal pose, because when the leg goes past 90 degrees, you can feel how the abdomen has to draw back to the front of the spine, like that abdominal sandwich that I've been referring to. Remember, if you have 2 belts in your home practice, you can do Supta Pada Gustasana 1 this way with the traction belt at the corner of the right hip and left arch. This is good. Where's Marina? Let's see. Marina, it's good. It's good. Top of the thigh back. Staying for a bit of time, this heel centric, calf centric. All right, now just do this. Just let go of the belt. Put the arms down by the side. Whoa, but in letting go of the belt, everyone let their leg go back. So just to point out why it's so abdominal, go back to the strap. If it doesn't bother your neck, look at your little screen and see yourself on the screen. See your leg in its place, Achala. Yeah, so you're holding with the strap. Now release the strap and don't let the leg wander back to the wall. Move the leg toward you. It's an abdominal pose. Don't let the leg go back. It's actually much harder to do this pose without the strap. Okay, bend both knees into the chest. Dvipada Pavamutasana or Kunchanasan. Merge the chest with the thighs. Flex the feet so that you're really articulating those arches, the arches, as though energy was being drawn into the lower leg and into the tube of the upper leg as well. And now extend through the core of the right. Ekapada. Place the belt on at the back heel and then do a calf-centric Supta 1, toes down, heel up, toes down. Pull the strap down, lift the heel up as though you were breaking the belt. Good, Yokiko. These look really good. Let's see Marina on this side, yeah, good. Marina, I don't think, honestly, that if it's, not possible to straighten fully the right, I would say fully straighten the left. I think Irene and I disagree with that. I have a feeling, but I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing. Okay, now stay for about another 30 seconds. Then you'll eyeball your leg in space. You could look at the screen, but you can propriocept it. You feel your leg in space. You release your hands from the belt and don't let the leg wander back. So at least you're getting some abdominal work. That's good, Val. Hips even. Left hip moving to the right. Hips balanced. Side ribs balanced. Good. All right. These look very good. Do it one more time. Beth, that's really good. Take the belt. Go to your max. Keep the leg in the place and move the leg toward you when you release the belt. See how this is an abdominal pose. We do a lot of abdominal work. And of course, it becomes more abdominal once you go to the final pose, which we will do, holding the heel and lifting the chest and the head. But we'll get there soon. Okay, and now when you're ready, extend through the core of your left heel. All right, and then go to one side. All right, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to do it slightly differently than Tuesday. All right, so one of the things I'll preface this with, if anyone's having neck pain, this can be tricky. And then then you wouldn't take the legs overhead, but I don't think anyone here is having neck pain, but I can address that momentarily. Then if you're having neck pain, you can just do, and actually we'll all do, Urdhva Prasarita Padasana legs at 90. Now, because you've done Supta 1, your legs might go 90. I want the legs at 90. If you don't have a shoulder issue, extend the arms overhead. You can palm a brick. That you're not going to take the arms overhead, but you could either keep the arms down by the side or stretch out the arms, okay? Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. We're holding for 2 minutes. This is a classic abdominal pose. You can do foot things like this in the air, circles, why not? All right, let's see, Marina. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so Marina, can you switch? Can you have the head side? I want to see your right side closer to me. So turn yourself around and let me see the right, okay? All right, legs in UPP. Lubna right above the knee if you can. Val, your legs going back now beyond 90. Okay, that's good, Marina. Just at 90, Amy, yeah, just at 90. So see if you can find 90, which is not so easy after Supta 1. If we had done this before Supta 1, it would be much more palatable. Yeah, open up the back of the knee, Lubna. So you have a double action here. Press the top of the knee back, right here, Lubna. Right here, but then you have to pair that with extending from the inner knee to the inner heel. It's a double action. Otherwise, the back of the knee doesn't quite open. Good, Meredith. Then, if you have no shoulder issues, arms can be overhead. You can palm the brick. All right, it's almost 2 minutes. If the legs starting to, good, Marina, if the legs are wandering back, put a block between your thighs, that's the option, or belt the feet, good. Take the arms down, take the knees into the chest. All right, so this is what we're going to do. Again, no one has a neck issue here, and this is certainly not, I'm not gonna say contraindicated, but it could be problematic. So let me just say that there's a big muscle, trapezius muscle, from the base of the neck, and it's basically an inverted triangle. So it encompasses, I can't draw it, but it's like this shape, inverted triangle. And that trapezius muscle should not hunch up to your ears. And this is problematic, especially if we're under stress, fight response, shoulders go up to the ears. So when I lie down and I do rock and roll with the knees bent, there's a tendency to lift the shoulders. They have to stay down. If you want to put a blanket at the spine of the shoulder, be my guest. So watch this. So I do a Kunchanasana, knees into chest. I keep the legs bent. Touch down for a second, keep the legs bent, come back. Touch down for a second, knees bent. Again, if you get any issues with the neck, and just to be aware of the trapezius ascending, you can put a blanket here, you see, at the spine. Lubna, I'm saying this for you. If you have that blanket, you put it at the spine of the shoulder. That's an anatomical term, spine of the shoulder. And then touch down, but keep the legs bent, touch down, legs bent. Marina, I think you'll be able to do it. It's abdominal. All right, rock and roll. Mary Beth, yeah, you don't need, if you don't get the toes to the floor, what are you going to do? Put a bolster underneath your pelvis. Amy, you need, I think, to get the toes to the floor. Okay, watch again. This is not unusual for yoga students not to be able to get the toes to the floor. If anyone wants to come on and share with me why that is, I'd be really interested in knowing. Watch. So now I situate myself. Some of you need this. Actually, I'll do the double. All right, say I'm the kind of person who can't bring the toes to my floor, not a problem, okay? So now I put my pelvis on the bolster. I gotta get this organized. Usually at the distance of my head is my arm's length, and watch. So this is height, I'm halfway there, knees bent, touchdown, knees bent, touchdown, knees bent, touchdown. It's not unusual for people to do rock and roll, we call it, with two bolsters. But I'm curious to know why. Don't let the trapezius lift up. And it's very common. So that blanket loop at the spine of the shoulders is working well for you. Okay, do about 5 times and just relax. Let's see, Gail. Let's see again, Amy. Good, Marina. It's not uncommon to have 2 bolsters, or I've seen 3 bolsters, 2 for the feet, 2 for the pelvis, or 4. Okay, that looks good. All right, now we're gonna we didn't do this Tuesday, but I want to do this, so watch. We're going back to our theme, which is straightening the legs bent to straight. So watch, you can still use bolsters for this, but I'm not showing it like that. So I keep the knees until my chin, then I go bent, I'm coming back, but then eventually you see I'm straightening, and then I go back to bent. So I go from bent to straight. Or you could literally go back to bent and then straighten the legs when the toes have touched the floor. So there's a difference, right? So there is bent to straight, or go back bent, toes to the ground, then straighten, okay? The latter, you'll feel more abdominal work, but both of them have abdominal work. Don't let your chest, your neck come into the picture. Make sure your toes are on a surface, need not be the floor, and make sure that you're not ascending your trapezius. Just a few in that manner. Just a few in that manner. All right, good. All right, now sit up tall in Dandasana and feel the floor like you felt the wall in Uttanasana. Okay? All right, now watch again, bend to straight theme. So here the legs are straight. I recline my chest back. I bring the legs into that Akunchanasana, and the main attraction is when I do that, because the lower spine wants to roll back that way, I have to lift the lower spine up. And then once I have the lower spine lifting up, then I can stretch through my heels, but I'm still holding the backs of the legs. So you see the shape of the pose is a V. All right, let's do that much. If anyone's back hurts, do it like this. Have your feet against the wall. Get that Akunchanasana. Eventually it'll become pariporn, but we're not there yet, okay? The main attraction is not to let the lower spine roll back. That's the kiss of death. When the chest rolls back and the legs go down, people complain of backaches, right? You have to lift the lower, right here. You can see in white, right here. All right, here we go. So first thing is Dandasana, because you have to have the memory of, we're gonna, right now, we're not concerned with straightening the legs in the air. Okay, then bend the legs. Hold the backs of the thighs, really sandwich in, look, sandwich in. Lift the lower spine. All right, now hold the back of the thigh and extend through the core of the heel. So the legs are straight as they were in rock and roll. Straight as that. Press the thighs, the hamstrings into your palms. Good. Okay, now let's repeat because those look very good. This time with the memory of the floor, go back just like we did in rock and roll, sandwich in, and then you will take your hands away from the thighs and your arms become like oars of a boat. Let's see, when you're ready, these look good. Get that V shape. You know what the tendency is. The legs to go too low, the chest to go too low. Lift more, Amy, lift more from the sides of the waist, even if you have to take a blanket underneath you. All right, it also can be done with a chair. Okay, these look good. One more time, so good, Val. Yeah, eventually, so Val, that's like Ubaya Padangusthasana, which is very similar, but beyond. So Ubaya, the chest and the legs are closer together. This is more like this. The chest is back 30, the legs are 45. Okay, let's see, Pariporn, the full Navasa means boat. Amy, try it sitting on a smidge of blanket. Let's just see. So I don't want your lower spine to roll back to the wall there. Okay, one more time, unless you've done it. I just wanted to see it. Gail, lift from the lower spine, but it's tricky at the wall if the legs are straight, Gail. Amy, that's much better. Gave you some lift in your lower spine. And I actually might try it on a block, unless you feel slippery, but a block actually could be firmer. We do Crown Chalcen with the block. I almost feel a block on the low side might be better than a blanket. Okay, now do this. Come forward into Paschimottanasana. Keep sealing the legs into the floor. Now observe, because here's putting the pieces together. Is there a connection between your trunk and the thighs? Okay, try it this way, and I'm glad that I saw what I just saw. All right, now this is not the way it's commonly taught, but I really love it this way. I'm going to show you from this way. All right, so do you see? I'm starting with bent legs. Do you see that? Okay, then I'm going to hold the sides of my feet, and then I'm going to scrub my heels away. So remember what we did in Padangusthasana. And then bent legs, I get the connection because many of you, and it's harder to get the connection of the trunk to the thighs in Paschimottanasana than it is in Uttanasana, because Uttanasana is upright and you have the power of the legs. But here, there is some power of the legs, but not as much as Uttanasana. So I bend my legs to connect the trunk to the thighs, and then I scrub the heels away, but I have to keep the connection. And then, what if, show me in profile, if you lose your connection, what are you going to do? The blanket, right? The blanket. Okay, so say I'm here, and now I've strained my leg. Look what happened. Oh my gosh, there's this huge space between my abdomen. Well, first of all, this is a little more complicated. You can see my diaphragm is not moving with my chest. So I'm going to merge the blanket, start with bent, and then go to straight to connect the dots, literally. Now, those of you who are forward benders, clearly I can see Amy. Lift the elbows up, guys. The elbows should not, ideally, the reason why you don't want the elbows descending to the floor is you have to keep the shoulder blades, trapezius moving to the waist. If the elbows descend, the trapezius, as my friend Jarvis loves to say, falls on the neck. Good, Marina. These are poses that in some ways there is we need to understand them. See how this basically is a seated Uttanasana. Let the elbows part. Eventually the pose of Paschimottanasana, the arms are straight because the arms are beyond the feet. So just note to self. Julia, see if you can, and if you lose the connection, bend the legs again. So here's the thing, guys. Here's your diaphragm. Your diaphragm has to move with the spine. And for people who forward bends is challenging, this is what often happens. The diaphragm, this is my diaphragm, is moving that way, but my spine is moving that way, and that causes kind of like a back shearing. I need to have this abdomen, this diaphragm move. It's forward and down, forward and down, forward and down. Can we do again? No one here needs to sit on a chair, but of course, sometimes people do. Okay, these are good. Beth, now lift the elbows up, that's it, my friend. Good. All right, now let's do this. So if this is not possible for some of you, I will give you some modifications, or you can do any of the vinyasa statically, meaning one pose at a time. So we're going back to UPP. So you could do this. Then we touch down. Then we go to Paripurnavasana with straight or bent legs. And then we go to Paschimottanasana and then begin again. Okay? So if that's not possible, if it bothers your back in any way, you can just do a static UPP. You can do a Paripurnavasana, or you can do a Paschimottanasana. Gail, we're just doing this. UPP, touchdown, Paripurna, and Paschimottanasana. If you need to bend the legs, do so. All right? Because what I did straight to straight can be challenging. If you have any questions, come on the screen, because I didn't spend much time on this on Tuesday. If your back is bothering you, go back to Supta 1 or knees into the chest. That's it, Mary Beth. That's it. Val, good. So you're taking the legs back overhead, coming through to Paripurna, Beth, if you can. It requires, there's a moment in time, Beth, you have to really get situated and really lift the lower spine up. Good, Julia. Now Paschimottanasana. Do any to the degree that you can do. And then over time, we work with naturally, you know, you do 10 of them. Blah, blah. That's it. Okay, and go forward. All right, now, just stay, yeah, go through it, take your time. Okay, now we're doing the final Supta Pangushtasana 1, which is this way. We go back to, we'll do Dvipada because, you know, I'm a big believer, especially as we get older, in balancing asymmetrical poses with symmetrical. So we're back to something symmetrical, all right, even though the rock and roll to some degree largely was symmetrical, but it was still with movement. And then you're gonna hold the big toe or use the strap, let the elbow go out to the side and take the leg with you as you lift the chest and head up, okay? All right, so Supta 1. If you need head support, Lubna, yeah. Because you are gonna raise the, yeah, if your neck bothers you, I would use a bolster or 2 blankets. Good, Gail. Open the back of the knee. Marina, let's see on the right side, yeah. Right side facing me so I can just see it. Yeah, better to, that's it. Only for my sake, Marina, I know it's a pain in the ass. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. All right, all right. Some of you can hold the big toe. Now listen, many of you can now walk your hands down and hold the sides of the foot. Mary Beth, Val, Elaine, Julia, and holding the side, Yukiko. Don't let the knee bend, raise the chest, hold it. Yes, now holding the back heel. Remember where the belt was. Amy, Beth, where the belt was, you're holding that part of your foot. Beautiful. Now, those who can and are in that stage, clamp the left thigh down. Beth, that's beautiful. Hold the back heel. Remember, good. Val, good. Relax the neck, relax the eyes. Note how the 2 sides are likely to be different. Change sides when you're ready. Take a Dvipada in between them. Dvipada. Those suptas looked really good. Probably because we had two days of leg work. All right, next week I'll present an abdominal class. Take the left knee in. All right, hold the big toe. All right, now climb down the foot, sides of the foot, eventually to the heel. And then lift the chest, lift the head support if you need it so you don't get that crick. And now take the leg with you. Take the leg with you. That means you have to, yes, take the leg. Good, Val. Take the leg with you. With you. Good work in your right thigh, Val. Excellent. All right, now release. All right, now we didn't do this on Tuesday, but I figured, you know, I'm looking at the sequence, why not? We can spend less time on the standing poses. Now you're going to go back to Supta Virasana, Marichiasana 1, knee into the chest, but this time you're going to have a belt. So just watch everyone. So this is kind of where we started the class, but we didn't have the belt. All right, so you can start with the Marichiasana 1 leg. I'm just showing it this because this is, now this is a little high for me, so I got to take a level down. All right, so I'm starting, right leg is, well, you'll be the right, just you could do this. Left leg in Marichiasana 1, right leg in Vira. You can do what you want. Okay, then I have the belt there. Okay, now I'm taking the knee in. This is where we left off an hour ago. I actually feel a little tension in my neck. I should have some head support, and you might. And then watch, I lasso this foot. And now this is the tricky part. Oh, I have to take the leg to 90 degrees and then beyond. All right, so we have been here before, right? So if you're going to take the right leg up, I'll just show you, I'll reverse my situation. So my left leg is in Virasana. You remember this. Remember, the buttocks don't need to touch the floor. Then you take the knee in. This is much harder on my side, and then put the belt and then take the leg up. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can do this. If all else fails, go back to where we were this morning in just the Marichiasana leg and then knee in. Okay. It doesn't matter which side. I mean, typically, as you know, we do the right leg would be Marichiasana. but go slowly. I think most of you will need one bolster. If you're not doing the Supta Virasana, Gail, if you're not doing the Supta Virasana, you could just do the quasi jethra for the groins. That might feel really good after the abdominal work anyway. Just want to give you a good Val. That's it, Elaine. Or go back to Supta 1. That's it, Val. That's, Gail, that's it. Okay, Mary Beth, yeah. So Mary Beth, you have about what? About 20 degrees to go, maybe to 45. Yeah. Val, that's excellent. You've been practicing that pose, Beth? Wow. Lubna, a little closer to the chest if you can. So my leg is kind of there. Make sure, Marina, make sure your neck is long there. Change sides when you're ready. If the knee of the Virasana leg lifts up, then it's wise to do this at the wall. That's another configuration. Okay, recline back. So let me ask you something. Can you see how much a groin stretch this is? The Ekapada Supta Virasana versus just straight up Supta Virasana. Now, if your left leg hamstring was more pliable, this side would be easier. So you could, if you want to, and then watch that. So once you take the leg to 90 and then beyond 90, but try to get it good, Val, at least 90, then, okay. So there is a way, relax Yukiko, I think that's too much trunk support because it's distorting the shape. I think you just need a bolster and maybe one blanket, but definitely not that. Julia, that's good. Now this would be actually in some ways, if the knee was bothering you, let me just show you this, because I wasn't gonna go here, but let me do this. Not everyone, Luna, you don't have a yoga chair, but watch. Come up, straighten your legs, get it out of flexion. So here's the thing. Say someone they couldn't do deep knee flexion, which was just that for one leg. Then you could do this. Let me just show this quickly, just so they are mind orients to this. So now the leg is not in that deep flexion, okay? And then I recline back, I extend the leg, and I'm doing Ekapada Viparita Dandasana. So that makes sense, right? So for Marina, because it's not knee flexion for you, but if anyone, and of course, I'm just showing you this, not that anyone here has that problem with deep knee flexion, but usually in a class, any given class, that is an issue, okay? So tomorrow, if you should decide to do this sequence, then try it with the chair, right? Okay, now everyone's gonna stand up and let's do this. Just take the chair. Lubna, you can do it at the wall. We're doing Utthita Bekasana. If this bothers your knee, simply as I have explained before, then put the kneecap on the seat of the chair. All right, Utthita Bekasana, facing wall. Gail, just bring the thigh back. So if you're standing, look at yourself in the screen. So don't let the knee be forward of this knee. The knee has to come back. And then Amy, remember, it's that same like calf stretch. You have to lift the pubic bone up because whatever appeared in that calf stretch is likely to appear now. So if you're bending the right thigh, right knee, right leg, see that your right thigh is aligned with the left, but that's good, Gail. Now lift the pubic bone up. Now see if you can hold the foot with both hands and aim the heel to the outer buttock. Actually, not to the buttock, not to the right buttock, but the outside, because you've been in Supta Virasana. So it should be easy breezy. Okay, change sides. You can do it facing the wall, sideways to the wall, hold the foot, lift the pubic bone up. The chest wants to come forward because the natural tendency for most people is to bypass that groin. That's good, Julia. Really good. You keep an eye. I think you all have it. All right. Now come out. All right. So take your mat. We're going to do Parsvottanasana. Bend straight. We'll do it freestanding unless you absolutely need to use the wall for your back. Right heel, left heel, then you would. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the arms up without letting the thighs come forward. And then bend forward. And I'll have the blocks because I pretty much know I need to be on the medium side. I'm gonna bend my knees. All right, both knees are bent. Then I step back with my left heel. I know just the right distance so that the heel is down, left heel down, and then I slowly begin to press the foot, draw up on the knee, the skin from the knee to the hip, and then I bow down. Okay, in which case I don't need the blocks. And then I'm going to step forward, do Uttanasana in this manner, and then come up, okay? All right, you can show me in profile. Luna, you okay? All right. Most of you will probably need the blocks only on the medium to low side. All right, now take the arms up. Exhale, bend forward, but don't let the thighs really come forward, right? When you take the arms up. Now bend the knees, keep the right leg bent and extend back like your lunge position. That's it. Back heel has to be down though. So it's not quite a lot. Back heel down. Back, make sure your back heel is down now. Now begin to straighten, bring the blocks closer, Amy, to the right heel. Yeah, now slowly synchronize, press the foot, like take the pedal to the metal, draw up from your outer right knee to your hip, go slowly. Find out, is your abdomen resting on your thigh? What to do? If it's not, bend the right leg again. Now synchronize these actions. Press the foot, draw up from knee to hip, and lay your abdomen down on your thigh. If that doesn't work, Lubna, good. Yes, put your right hand at the left side of your navel, Lubna. Turn the skin from the left to the right. Turn it. That's it, Lubna. So the center of your abdomen is resting on your thigh. If all else fails, which I don't see. Gail, do you have the blanket? I can't see with the light there. No, okay. Then, yeah, that's fine. It just seems like it's a pit. I wasn't sure if it was the light or space. Okay. Amy, it's good effort, but somehow and this happens often when we step back, the distance has shortened. All right, now step forward with the back leg, take an Uttanasana. You can go bend to straight or do what I did, straight to straight, because your legs have been warmed up. Bow now, close in the gap between, yes. Hold the back of the calf. You can hook as I showed and go down. Just take that next step. Roll the buttocks over. Marina, excellent. Okay, inhale up your come. That's it. All right, now we're going to go back in the same way. So when, let me just show this in profile. So when I'm bending my legs, all right? And then this is my left leg. I step back, but not the heel is up. Remember, it has to be, but not here either, Amy, right? You've got to have enough distance between the two legs so the spine can elongate. Now, Lubna, this is what I said to you. You can use the left hand and move that, turn that navel from the right to the left and go down, okay? That's like a Janu Shirshasana action. Right? Because the name of the pose is Parsvottanasana. What's Parsva about it? What's Parsva, meaning sideways, is turning the navel from, in this case, the left to the right. Okay, now you're on your own. Bend, keep the right leg bent. Back heel has to be down before you begin to straighten the leg. Tell yourself, how do you straighten the left leg? You have to press, pedal to the metal, draw up, knee to hip. And then find out, in straightening the left leg, what happened? What happened to the abdomen? Is it still connected? If it's not, then go back and use what we've been doing all day, all morning, bend the leg or even insert the brick. Amy, it still looks as though you could go insert the blanket, not the brick. It looks a little bit short to me, but okay, get that back heel down. Okay, and then, yeah. Keep drawing. Remember a traction belt, Amy, at the corner of the left hip, because if you're not used to taking this wide stance, you can see how the left hip is jutting forward. Cut it back. Cut it back. That's it. Use your hand valve. That's a good thing. All right. And now kick forward with the back right leg. Take Uttanasana, head down, release the side walls of the waist. You'll need that. Good, Beth. That's a beautiful pose. You're letting the buttocks really, really come forward. Elaine, if you're not, do some seated work like Baddha Konasana, Upavishta Konasana. If the standing poses are not helpful. Do Baddha Konasana, Upavishta Konasana, Siddhasana, in and out Padmasana. Because oftentimes, if one's getting any kind of dizziness or nauseousness, this is probably the most helpful, Elaine, in my experience. Upavishta, because it's a wide pose. Connect the outer corners to the feet. Okay, now watch everyone. I'm going to present this a little bit, smidge differently. All right, so now I'm going to go back to that kind of lunge shape. So, or Parsvottanasana shape. You see my back heel is down, my right leg is bent, all right? And I'm going to stay here. Neck is long. You can stay, I want you to stay for a bit of time. This is in itself the transition of Warrior 3, and it's actually a very, very, very strong position for the legs and the abdomen. Then all I have to do is shift the weight onto the right foot and come up into Warrior 3, all right? So just another way of doing Warrior 3 from that Parsvottanasana bent leg. And I love doing poses different ways. All right, step back, left leg, left heel is down, just where we were a moment ago. Elaine, if standing is bother you, go supine, do legs elevated at the wall. Okay, right leg is bent. Yeah, right leg bent, right leg bent. Now extend the arms backward. Yes, now your abdomen has to be engaged. That's it. Stay. Neck long. Now lift the head a smidge. Keep the neck long. Beth, try not, it looks like you're bending at the occiput. Feel the skin at the occipital ridge. Move to the crown. All right, now bring the hands down to the blocks. Shift the weight onto the right foot. Yeah, move the blocks forward. Have the hands directly underneath the shoulders. Now raise the root of the left leg up. Look at yourself and see that your body is parallel to the floor. These are good. Yeah, I think you got caught there at the wall, Amy. All right, now come back to that Parsvottanasana with bent leg position. Good. Kick forward with the back leg and up you come and change sides. Okay, so we're using left leg is bent, right heel is down. Stay for 30 seconds. Extend the arms backward like you're an airplane about to get ready for takeoff. Reach through your inner arms. Feel the back of your arm muscle working, your tricep muscle. Yeah, let the chest come down on that thigh. Yeah, Amy, bend the left leg even more. Bring the chest down. Bring the chest down. Good, Marina. That's a beautiful shape, Mary Beth. Now, your plane has got to fly. You bring the hands down to the blocks, unless you're not. I see some of you are, which is fine. And moving on stage. Shift the weight onto the left foot and make your body parallel to the floor as you lift the root, good, of the right thigh up. These are excellent. Okay, now drop the aerial leg. Take a final Uttanasana, sides of the waist down. So that's a way of coming into modified Warrior 3 from Parsvottanasana with bent leg. Some of you, obviously, you can figure out you don't have to take the arms to the blocks. You can extend the arms out to the sides or even forward into the final pose. All right, now we're going to use Parsvottanasana as a platform, not only for Virabhadrasana 3, but for the standing split or Viprasarita Ekapadasana. Okay, then we'll recalibrate. So watch. This is my favorite way to do it. It's not the classical way. The classical way is straight to straight, which is much more challenging. All right, so watch. I come back to that position. You've seen this a lot today. Right leg is bent, back heel is down. Okay, now I take the blocks forward. I keep the abdomen connected with the thigh, and then I'll take my hands off the block, but now I have to lift the leg up as I descend the waist down. if this bothers your back and sometimes this pose bothers the back, then do simply one-legged Adho Mukha Svanasana. Elaine, if the head down is not helpful, do Paschimottanasana now, but we're going to recalibrate at the end, okay? I hope that was clear. Right leg bent, left heel down. So we're shifting into the standing split. Most of you might not need blocks when you're going to eventually shift the weight. Okay, now take the hands forward of the right foot with or without blocks. Draw up. You got to straighten the right leg just like you did before. Straighten the right leg, lift the root of the left thigh up, and release the waist side ribs and head down. It's Urdhva Prasarita Padasana, the same standing split pose that you all know and love. Now find out what happened to the connection, good Val, between the abdomen and the thigh. These are great. And now descend the leg, just drop it, take Uttanasana, head down and change sides. Those look good. All right, left knee in. So you're starting like this, guys. If you need to see, you're here. Many of you don't need the blocks. Then I shift the weight. You see, I walk the hands 9 to 12 inches in front of the left foot. I draw up from my knee to my hip. And at the same time, when I draw up on my left leg, I raise the root of my right thigh, and then I take an Uttanasana trunk, and there you arrive in the pose. It's that easy. Okay? Sometimes, people get nauseous and dizzy, and sometimes backache with this. That's good. Okay, these look really good. Good, Marina. All right. These are excellent. All right, now descend aerial right leg. Come into your final Uttanasana, which by now should be improving. Remember the principles. If you've lost the connection between abdomen and trunk, bend or insert. A rolled mat can also be nice. Now, because we've done rather narrow shape poses, which can be, contracting, then do Upavishta Konasana for the organic body. This will feel really nice. Spread your abdomen. We'll see if we get to Hanumanasana. Okay. Look at your feet. See that they're perpendicular to the floor, extending through the heels. The legs belong to the floor. And again, use this. Connect the outer corners of the eyes to the pinky baby toe so that you really feel like you're spreading your body and your mind. Because again, the standing split, Uttanasana, all those poses are rather narrow in shape and somewhat contracted, may not be the best word, but they're narrow. Back bends are narrow. So oftentimes we do the opposite toward the end of the class as a sort of an antidote for the shapes and different physiological aspects and emotional aspects. So now we're spreading. And then if you're able to hold the sides of the feet, I'll show in profile. But remember, when you hold the sides of the feet, don't ascend the outer thighs. The outer thighs stay down. Lubna, if you have two belts there, Nakaba, you've got the two belts, right? That's it. Now don't let the trapezius lift up. Yeah. So I'm behind you and I'm moving your trapezius skin down. And then don't get that bend at the occiput, neck long. Since you're looking forward from the bridge of the top of your nose, which is very different than looking forward from the eyes or looking forward from the chin. All right, look forward. So lower the chin and look ahead from the bridge of the nose. It's a very helpful action on the neck. Now, Beth and others, for those of you who can come forward into Upavishta Konasana rather easily, do so. Others of you might find it more palatable to wedge in a bolster and have your trunk supported, your abdomen supported on something, as we've done all morning. Lubna, that's fine. Yeah, lift the elbows up so the trapezius can move down. Again, when you're coming forward, watch the tendency for the feet to lose their perpendicular quality and for the knees to roll in. Good, Marina. Very good, that's it. Good, Yukiko, these are good. These look very good from my vantage point. Yeah, keep the trapezius, again, moving down to the waist, spread, pacify the abdomen. Now come up and take Baddha Konasana. Some of you might remember if your knees are like this, best to go to the wall with the blanket in this configuration. A little on the narrow side. And put this at the wall so that the sides of the blanket don't impede with the outer thigh. I better show it. Actually, we should all do it this way. For a change. All right, let me get the camera situated. Okay, so unfortunately, it's a white wall and a white blanket, but you'll be able to see it. So I'm taking the blanket. And now you can see how narrow this blanket is, right? So that means that these sides won't impede with my outer thighs coming down, which is eventually what I want. So take my legs, using the hand in the pit of the knee. Let's see what happens with this, so that the soles of the feet are together. And then you see the blanket, you see, is not up against my outer thigh. Because if the blanket, it really makes no sense to have the blanket under the back of the thigh, because it won't, the blanket then impedes the motion of the thighs coming down. Right? That's good. Press the feet strongly and walk. So remember that we're not coming forward, although there is a Baddha Konasana when the trunk is going forward, but it's very challenging on the groins. So just continue to press the feet and widen the thighs away. So we're doing these two seated poses just again for organic space and for the physiology and also for the brain not to be hard. Okay, and then stretch out your legs. Okay, one last one. If you're not doing Hanumanasana, then what you could do is simply do this, Chatuspadasana. If you're doing Hanumanasana, let me show it. Come back to that lunge position. And I use this bolster because I want to support my right buttock. And then actually, this is not going to work. I need to slide my legs. So I'm coming off my mat. Of course, if I have carpet here, so it's a lot easier. So I'm straining my right leg and my left leg is straight and my trunk is upright. Hanumanasana. If you need more height than one bolster, do a bolster and a blanket, but that right good valve. And then you can put your fingertips on the bolster. A block is also nice, Mary Beth. Notice how it's much easier to strain the right leg. Marina, you could do something like this. Just stay in a lunge position. And we could have started just, if anyone feels like they're not coming into Hanumanasana, just do a lunge position. It can be tricky for the sacrum. And then remember, Lubna and others, so when you're in Hanumanasana, do you see with the right leg in front, how the left hip stays behind? So put your left hand on your left, the back of the left thigh and turn it inside out. Meaning bring the left hip good, Lubna, around. Now make your chest perpendicular. Julia, it almost looks like that's too much height for you. Yukiko, you don't need that much height. Yukiko, you're close to doing it without height. Beth, that's good. With that, I'm glad that you have no height. But just, Beth, lift strongly from the sides of the pubic bone. I think, if you had very low blocks, that could help. Lubna, just a smidge more, bring the left hip around. Because from my vantage point, I can see the left buttock is closer to the wall than the right. So now scrub the skin from the right knee to the hip. That has to move back. The femur head draws back into the hip socket. Now everyone put your hand on the back of your left thigh and bring that left hip around like warrior one. Bring it around. You're on the top of the foot. Marina, that's good. It also, there's a way of doing this in the chair. Now, very mindfully come out, i.e. bend the right leg. Yes, slowly come out and then do the left side. Now, this side might be easier for you to straighten the right leg or the left leg, but you can start in that lunge position and then go down. But make sure, listen, some of you are able to bring the buttock bone to the floor, but I don't want anyone's buttock bone suspended in midair because that could lead to a hamstring injury at the insertion. So support the buttock bone. I would, it's interesting. Some people like softer support. Try also a wood block, could be very nice. The advantage of the bolster is you can hold it from the sides. Gail, that's it. Yukiko, that's a beautiful pose. Many of you don't need any height. Great. These look really good. And then use this, Hanumanasana, although, it's a challenging pose, but it's a quieting pose. Experience it as a quieting pose. Yeah, if your trunk is pitching slightly forward, you can use your arms. Also, a chair, if you're holding on to the chair, the backrest, that can also be helpful to steer. Okay, now come out again, bend the left leg slowly, and everyone should do at least 5 Chatuspadasans. Everyone can do head support, and then shoulder support. Everyone do it like this. Just take your blanket in the Sarvangasana shape, put it at the edge of the mat like this. So you can see it. Here's the carpet. Here's the white blanket. There's the mat. And then I think you'll all get more lift of your chest if you do it this way. So my shoulders are on, not my head. And then I bring the heels as close, Marina, the heels come in as close to the buttocks as your knees will allow. And then bend your elbows, use your elbows, the head pressing, the elbows pressing, the shoulders pressing to go up and down. So at least you have some accessibility to lifting the legs. And so use the blanket, use the upper arm and elbows to lift up. Do at least 15, and then on the 15th one, you'll hold it for a count of 10. Go up and down, shoulders are down, elbows are down, feet are down, chest is up, head down, elbows down, shoulders down, chest up, buttocks up. Lift the mid buttock. Lift that mid buttock, the very middle of your buttock. It wants to drop. Don't let it. And this is good for you, Beth, because you're so flexible in the hamstrings. This is a counter pose. That's good, Mary Beth. Now, once you're on that 15th time, stay up and hold it. Hold, hold, hold. Okay. And then come out, take the knees into the chest. Because if we had more time, you could have added the block and done supported Setu Bandha. All right, let's do Shavasana in any way you want. You can put the lower legs on the seat of a chair, a bolster underneath the backs of the knees, sometimes prone. Elaine, I don't know if I find prone really helpful okay, if it doesn't, yeah. If there's nauseous, then of course prone might not be good. All right, let's see. Any and all. Marina, you can do the lower leg. Yeah, because the seat, that pitch of the legs, Marina, is really good because the back of the knee is supported. Okay, and just get comfortably settled. Before I take you into a short Shavasana, unfortunately today, but just acknowledge the work that you've done, just showing up is something. It's not nothing. Something just to show up. And acknowledge that you've done that today. And again, see if you can, as we did earlier when we sat, connect, have that downward trajectory of the eyes as though they were looking into the heart center, as though you are opening up your heart. Open your heart up to yourself. It's hard to open up your heart to others if you haven't first opened it up to yourself. See your own inner goodness. Know that you are worthy. Know that you are deserving. And then feeling how that resonates in the body. Just simply knowing that you're worthy, that you're deserving of good things, whatever those things might be for you. Create this space for yourself, this space of warmth, not only for yourself, but for others as well. And those of you who are prone, you can go to child's pose and pressing the palms flat, shifting the weight back onto the heels. And those of you on the chair, bend the knees into the chest, slowly roll to the side. And the rest of you are simply supine, bend the knees into the chest. Wait there. And then slowly come up. Just sit for a moment before you get off the cushion. Just sit, just settle yourself in a seated upright position. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording, and you can, if you want to chat, unmute yourself. All right.